power of this technology goes so far beyond what like the typical like table conversation about VR gives it credit for. You know, like we talk about it as like a useful tool or an immersive, fun experience, but what we're talking about is like truly transformational.
It should be perfectly possible to trick your brain into any experience if your brain can already do that itself naturally. So VR is almost like taking that ability for our brain to generate any experience for us and like putting it in our hands, which is wild.
Man, that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded.
We're in a strange time where our physical worlds are intersecting with our digital identities, and right now is a time to kind of determine what you want that to be.
Once you have full body tracking that works well and it's frictionless, right? Meaning it's easy to do.
Yes.
It's a whole new. It's not a game changer. It's a whole new game.
So maybe there will be some other people who would be curious to see what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, so to say. And that's how the Discover YouTube channel started.
Oh, not really Disco VR, Discover.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad when people ask me about VR, or they're like, what do you do? Like, all right.
Yeah.
You asked, here it comes.
I love VR, but I love going out and breathing fresh air. And not only was I stuck in VR for 10 days, I was stuck in one room because I was streaming, the same space. I didn't see the sunlight. I totally lost track of what time everything was.
She dances with the robot. She does the first steps. She dances with that robot. She takes that thing off her face. I have the video. I'm holding it hostage. She takes it off her head and she says, I gotta have it.
There are a few moments in my life I can remember very vividly. The day I got married, the day my kids were born, the day Facebook announced that they bought Oculus is one of those days. I was making chili.
I've been in a lot of gaming communities, and the VR community is by far the best community that I've ever been involved with.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. It's great to see you. It's Friday. It is July 12th, 2024, the year of our Lord, and we are so happy to have you here with us. My name is Alex VR sometimes. I am one half of the Between Realities squad, other half sitting next to me in the same room, just in case you guys were wondering, is Skiba. See,
what's up, brother?
Can't do that when you're faking it with like, oh wow, you're strong, bro. Oh my god, you like crushed my hand. Not really.
It's Alex VR. I'm so excited.
Well, I mean, I'm an award-winning podcast host.
Yes, you are, and you deserve it.
Yeah, we're gonna milk this for a year or longer. So get used to hearing it, people.
They're not gonna vote for us next time we ask them to.
Yeah, right. No, we learned our lessons actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we voted for them and they didn't shut up about it for a year.
Yeah, it's good to be excited when you take something home, right?
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And that room, man. It's just the room of people we are in. It's like, oh, look, there's everybody. Okay, well, this is pretty
there's everybody. Literally everybody.
Cool. How's your week been? You been a busy boy?
Been so busy, but minimal like fires, right? So it's been mostly productiveness and VR awesomeness, so I can't complain. And it's Friday, and I'm not always happy to be kid free, but this weekend I just get to relax, play some games, hang out in a headset, and I'm just so stoked it's Friday.
Good for you, man.
Heck yeah.
I'm stoked for you as well. This is my first full week at Impact Reality.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Pretty
Welcome
cool.
aboard.
Thank you. Busier than ever. But feels really good to be like fully in, focusing on something new, and like really making stuff happen, because like Impact is making stuff happen like for real. Like, we can't tell you everything that's happening, but take it from me, you know, I haven't been there from the beginning. I just kind of get to waltz in when things are getting exciting. And it's exciting. So definitely stay tuned for news from Impact Reality and Flat to VR Studios as we approach Gamescom, because Gamescom is going to be pretty crazy this year.
Yeah, there's going to be a flood of announcements we're going to be making here in the next month and a half. You know, people that are going to Gamescom are going to be able to demo some of the first Flat to VR titles. I think just one, but there will be a few probably announced. So it's going to be rad. It's definitely going to be rad. I know there's a lot of people that have really been, we get people bugging us all the time. Come on, just give us some hints. Give us some hints. And you get stuff like, I saw some comments like Paradise Decay on Twitter saying, we have it on good authority that Flat to VR is making PlayStation VR 2 games like from like Sony titles. And like, where are you getting this information? What is your good authority? Because it's very wrong.
That's amazing. We have it on bad authority. You have it on bad authority, actually.
It's pretty funny.
Speaking of Paradise Decay, man, I gotta tell you, coffee just tastes better out of my Paradise Decay coffee mug.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, go to ParadiseDecayCoffeeMug.com and get yourself.
Is that the URL? That's not the URL.
No, it's not.
But you know, it's better when you clink a Between Realities and Paradise Decay mug together. That's some good coffee right there.
Man, we're really selling the illusion, huh?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, listen, let's dive into things today, all right? Because it's going to be a good one. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, we'll quickly say hey to everybody who's joining us here on YouTube. We do a live show on YouTube, by the way, and I think y'all probably figured that out by now. But yeah, YouTube is where we live. We are also available on Spotify and Anchor and, you know, other sites. other
There's a lot of them. There's definitely a lot of them.
Yeah, there are. You know, one in particular that's been missing for a long time, but we're not going to get into that today.
Chris Hanney in the chat with to VR coffee. Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, what's up, Chris Hanney? Good to see you. He says he's been busy wrapping up Starship Home. Did not realize you were involved with Starship Home.
I didn't either.
Chris Hanney, that's really cool. Now I'm going to care about it. Jaden's here. What's up,
Hey,
JJ?
what's up, Jaden?
He is amazing. Shout out to JJ, one of our most supportive viewers, watching literally since episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out, Jaden. You're the real deal, bro.
Heck yeah,
ClassyGrandma, however, first in chat. Only 2 hours to go, and then it's the weekend. Well, here it is, baby. The weekend's here. We are there. Paradise Decay, of course, in chat. I hope you like the coffee mug. Shout out, bro. Qcreator, it's the weekend. Mike, bro, you've never been wrong about that. I don't anticipate that to change. Thank you for being here. RedSlashAce, happy Friday. Happy Friday, bro.
Hey, man.
Amelia Faust, hopefully you only get ads at the beginning and the end of this. I think we have it set up for that to be the case for today's episode. If you get a mid-roll ad today, anybody, let me know.
Let us know, and then Alex can convey what he did to work the magic.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Arlen.
YouTube's intuitive.
Yeah, YouTube is annoying. But you know, shout out to YouTube. Like,
yeah,
look at this.
I know.
You know, all of this has happened because of YouTube. Yeah. Like, for real. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll start a YouTube channel so I can be like PSVR Frank and get hired by a company. And then, bam.
Bam. There you go.
Here we are like 5 years later and, you know, and 100-something episodes. It's been good. ClassyGrandma with the quick super chat here. Just because you guys are you. Hugs. ClassyGrandma.
Aww.
Thank you for being cool. You're pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
Chrome Colossus, ahoy. What's up, man? Good to see you, Chrome Colossus.
Hey.
Looper the Underground Game Cat, a name that I have come to expect to see every week. So, you know, sorry, but you're stuck with us now.
Heck yeah, Looper.
Silver Nexus, of course. VR Family and Friends. Beat Saberita, hello, dear. So happy to have you with us as well.
Hey.
MickeyBerr in the chat. MickeyBerr is the real.
I feel like I haven't seen Mickey in a while. I feel like we saw him a bunch of times in a row, and then he's just like, I'm not coming to anything anymore.
So you don't love us anymore. So you don't care about us anymore, Mickey. What's the deal, man? Come on. Like, we thought we were friends for a second there. Just giving you a hard time, bro. But you are invited to everything.
All the things.
Yes. VR Spry Guy. What's up, baby? Good to see you as well. Ryan B. Happy weekend. Happy weekend, dude.
Happy weekend.
Mepper is here. Hi, all. Hey, Mepper.
Hey, Mepper.
Getting things done. Man.
Yes.
I love getting things done.
Dude, I know.
And get them to the Metaverse podcast.
Me too.
If you are not liking and subscribing, you are messing up.
J-Dun and Joy Rain forever.
Dude, seriously, they are so great.
Yep.
Mahina, hi.
Hey, what's up, Mahina?
Good to see you, Mahina.
Heck yeah. Can't wait to see you at Gamescom.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in your fucking suitcase or something, bro. I gotta be at
you
that.
You probably fit in my suitcase.
Dylan, yeah, we have the same suitcase.
This is true.
I guess I can fit in my suitcase.
Yeah.
Arlen, I already said hi to Arlen, but it's good to see you always, brother. Dylan Lawrence is here, keeping this open in the background while I work on my VR game.
Ooh.
All right, well, tell us what it is. You know
what you're working on.
Yeah, hit us with some self promo on that thing. Haroku, what's up? Didn't realize this was going on. Had it tabbed out and then didn't auto start. That's YouTube for you, bro.
Yep.
What can I
Glad
say?
you made it, though.
Lamfords is here. What's up, Lamfords? Aljimbe D Cat Allergic Game Cat.
Wow.
That is the
Heck
name.
yeah.
That's one of the most creative game cat names, although they are all creative too.
They really are, man. Game Cat Army is just amazing.
We can only hope to have something like the Game Cat Army here at Between Realities one day.
Yep.
Which it just won't happen because nothing's better than that. Assassin 32 VR. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Assassin?
When are we going to see you again, Assassin?
I know.
32?
And you haven't given Alex a heart attack pre-show in a few episodes now.
Thank you for that. Arcanian, what's up, man? Good evening, friends. What have you guys all been playing? I've been hooked on Pacific Drive with UEVR. That's cool.
Oh, sweet.
Pacific Drive. Getting things done. Also in here saying it's Frogger in VR coming from Impact Reality. Bro, I told you.
Frogger.
To say anything.
Let's go.
I told you that was NDA.
Full body tracking, and you actually have to hop.
Full body tracking, Frogger.
Immersion.
Chris Hanney says Gamescom. Let's talk.
Yes.
He's gonna be there.
Yes.
Assassin
let's go.
32 says PAX West. Yeah. Yes.
I think we may be going to PAX West.
What? Yes, we have to. Someone has to.
Yeah. No, it is important. I mean, it was one of those things. The first time we went, it was like, minimal VR, but with flat to VR now, we need all the flat game stuff too.
True that. Yeah. Exactly. We'll roll up to all these booths and be like, hey, you want to make your game like 1 billion times cooler? Talk to us.
Yes. Oh, getting things done. That's right. You sent me a link and I saw it at like 1 a.m. or something. I know you sent it earlier and I totally forgot to go back to it. I'm sorry. But yes, I really do hope they fix that and they allow me to monitor those younger accounts because my kid's account is turned off now.
Yeah, that's not good.
Well, she's super sad.
Last but not least, not here is Laszlo 216, not representing Cleveland Heights.
Oh.
So thanks for not being here. All right. I've been trying to get this guy on the show for a while.
I know.
I don't know, at least a couple years, I think. Dude, I don't know. What is his time even, frankly? Like, it's like all this amalgamation of memories in my head, and I don't know how to attach any of it to a timeline.
It goes by faster when in VR, which is super duper weird.
Yeah, well, that's because you spend an hour in menus and just in lobbies trying to find your friends and shit.
Nothing is as good as real life UI, right?
That's true. Hey, Brandon, what's up, man?
Hey.
But anyway, today's guest is heavily involved in Engage. I was like, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, that's not the right word. He's heavily involved in Engage XR, which, if you've read the episode description, kind of hails itself as the LinkedIn of VR social platforms. It's the idea is to have a VR social platform where you can do business and work and like meet professionally and maybe, like have an avatar that looks like you and not so much like a furry convention or whatever, which for the record is great. More power to furry conventions, but not always the most appropriate for professional settings. So you need something like Engage for that. So anyway, enough of me sitting here jammering on. Please welcome to Between Realities, Chris Madsen from Engage. What's up, Chris?
Hey guys, it's a pleasure.
Dude,
so good seeing you guys.
Heck yeah, you
My
too.
VR
man.
brothers.
Yes, man. We were just saying how much we missed you, man. You are one of the people that I truly am stoked to see every time I go to one of these conferences and hang out with. You're just like such a rad guy. So thanks for coming.
Absolutely likewise. I'm always from the moment I come into the airport, I'm looking for you guys.
Right? That's because we saw each other in an airport at one of those events. I don't remember which one, but like I'm in the airport waiting for an Uber or something, and then bam, Chris Madsen right up in my face. Oh, there's Josh Bankston too. Like all of a sudden, like the whole crowd's coming together. And we're all just landing on our airplanes. It's rad, man.
Amazing. Good people.
Chris, how you doing, man? I for a minute there, I thought you were traveling internationally because you're posting all these pictures from like these trips that you've been on this week, and I guess you're home, so that's nice. But
I'm home. We did the whole Mediterranean thing, bucket list, Pompeii, amazing, London, the whole shebang.
You went to Pompeii? Bro.
Oh, it was insane.
That's so cool.
Bigger than I ever imagined. You know,
man.
I majored in anthropology, right? So you know, these sorts of things just excite me to no end. And to be able to get in there and experience that's amazing. And we also have in Engage the Great Amphitheater in Pompeii, which I've been intimately familiar with over the years. So to be able to go to the real world version, that's like, oh yeah, I've been.
Yeah, no big deal.
Oh, that's so sick.
Really cool.
Man, my favorite thing that I've ever seen come out of there. I mean, it goes back for a trillion years, right? But Pink Floyd did a show there live from Pompeii, and it's just like forever ingrained 100%. In my brain. Heck yeah.
You better believe that was on my mind when I was there.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah. Dude, I saw the Pompeii like traveling museum exhibit in Phoenix a few years ago, and first of all, obviously like incredibly shocking to see these like cast molds of the humans that were covered in the volcanic ash of the volcanic eruption that happened there. But the thing that surprised me even further was like the intricacy and like next level craftsmanship of all of the artifacts. Like they used stuff that looked like it was made yesterday, like the plates, the silverware, their like dishes and stuff, like their tables and chairs. Like it was all like so modern and so amazing for how long ago that was. Like,
and such a tragic story, right?
It blew my mind, dude.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff.
You know, they've been digging that site out since the mid 1700s. They've been excavating this thing for 250 years.
Wow, man.
And they're still not done.
Dang, dude.
Wild.
Oh my God. So you went to Pompeii, and then I saw you were in London.
Yeah, fantastic. You know, some of my colleagues are there, so hanging out with them was great. Just a good time. It was much needed, and here we are back in the saddle, back in the action.
Boom, back in the action. What is like? What's a typical day of work look like for you at Engage? Like, you know, what kind of stuff keeps you busy?
It's so I'm sales engineer there, so I'm constantly interfacing with folks that are exploring this concept of the metaverse, virtual reality, spatial computing, oftentimes introducing people to the power of virtual reality, which, what a cool role, right? What an exciting place to be in, to be able to, you know, it's a big responsibility to introduce people in an appropriate way to this amazing medium. So, you know, being able to do that all throughout the day, I literally spend probably half my waking time in VR and half in the physical world. It's, you know, I'm in there a lot, teaching people how to operate within that medium.
Wow. Are you like getting in your car and like driving to like offices and like saying, hey, I'm here with the VR headset?
Remote. Our whole team is remote. 70 plus people. We're all remote.
Right. But when you're putting people in VR for the first time, are you saying, okay, go buy this headset and then call me? Or are you like doing in-person demos?
Yeah, no, we're doing it remotely, and sometimes I'm on a video call like this, you know, walking them through the basic essentials. Usually they've gone through the steps to set it up, and I'm just there to get them over that last mile, get them inside, and then doing what you can only do in an XR medium, reach out and shake their hands from 1,000 miles away, right?
Boom. Dude, legitimately, it was an experience like that like sold me on the concept of VR. When I bought some time at a VR arcade, it was like my second time with the headset on. My first one was a PlayStation VR headset, but I bought some time in an arcade because I wanted to have a multiplayer experience in virtual reality. And they put me into Rec Room, and the second I high-fived somebody and I felt the haptic vibration in the controller, I was completely sold. I realized I just high-fived somebody across space and time, and holy shit.
Yep.
Like, here's the future. This is the future right here.
That's one of the key moments, is that being able to touch each other and feel that haptic. Of course, you know, the initial wait, I can look around and behind. And then wait, I can walk through the space. Things start clicking. You know, I like to take it slow with people. You know, your audience, I'm sure, they watch this show. They're all they're steeped in VR.
We are diehards here.
Props to community, right? You know, huge love to you guys and your community, because community is what it's all about too. But we kind of forget sometimes what it's like being introduced to VR for our first times. And it really is important to just slow it down. Like literally sometimes the first 10 minutes, all we're doing is just looking around, walking a little bit. Oh my God, I can touch you. I can shake your hand. Let's bring in a 3D object. Let's pass it over to you. Take it from me. Look at it. Examine it. Your arm is an extension of your brain. What an intimate way to be able to look at the details. You know, what my brain is saying is what I'm looking at. It's saying rotate right, rotate left, and it's happening through the extension of my brain. That's experiential learning, man. And it's just like, wow, that's so different from anything outside of real life. You know?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, man, I'm already snapping my fingers over here. So, like, when you're giving these people their first experience and it's in this like kind of professional setting or businessy setting, I guess, how, like, what percentage of the people that you're doing this with are like having their brains melted, and what percentage of them are like not getting it, who are like, okay, now what? You know, like, do you, because I imagine some of those people are freaking out and some of those people are failing to see the magic.
I would say probably pretty close to 100% are having their minds melted and understanding the value of it. And again, it's how you do it, right? It's all how you initiate somebody into it. Gotta slow them down, man. I even sometimes just take a deep breath. Let's relax. Where are we? Where are we? And this is what I always tell people sometimes when I'm meeting them for the first time, or just out on the streets or at conference or whatever. And it's a wild statement. It sounds very fantasy, very sci-fi, but it's absolutely true. And then people realize it's true when they try it, is you are teleporting your consciousness to a shared digital reality in which you can interact with others and yourselves, and your consciousness is embodying a digital skin that represents you, an avatar, typically human. Why is it important? There's other values to being a non-human too, which we can get into later, but the importance of being human is because half of our communication is through our physical actions and our hands and our facial expressions, nuances. And here we are. We're now 1,000 miles away, but we're in a shared digital space, being able to communicate intimately and interact with that environment. And we've all now been given magic wands, essentially, to be able to do whatever we want to do. There's no limits, man. Now, I mean, I don't know if we want to rewind the clock, 10 years, 12 years when the DK1 first came out. That's when I came into the scene, right? 20 years of behavioral science. I was tracking the whole DK1 thing. It hadn't been launched yet. And one of the most exciting days for me, I'm actually thinking about this podcast today. I was like having all these memories, and I dug into the shelves, right? So There's it. There's the original, right?
There it is.
Original box right there. The excitement of, oh my God. I've been watching some of the early YouTube streamers who had already received theirs, and all of us are like multiple times a day checking the spreadsheet, trying to guesstimate when ours is going to arrive. And it was just like this painful multi-month process of, when do I get my kit? The kit arrives, right? And I take that thing out of the box. I'm like shaking. I'm like, I get to do virtual reality. I've read about it. I've kind of experienced it in other formats, but now it's the personal device. This thing is so light. It's so light compared to the headsets out to, this thing is so, amazing. And you notice, do you guys know what that is on the front?
It's a Razer. It's a Razer sticker.
Razer Hydra, right? That was the first time we got to get hands in the experience. And that came a little bit later. And they were really hard to come by. And my wife secretly bought me one for Christmas or my birthday. I can't remember which. I was like, oh my God, we got hands in the experience. Now, there was very few applications that supported hands back then, right? But the ones that did, it's like, wow, we've got these Razer Hydras. Here they are right here. Magnetic.
What? Whoa, what is that?
Nice.
Yeah, right. And these things plug into Hydra base.
Oh.
So they're actually wired hand controllers. So you can only imagine how your brain has to adapt to avoid getting tangled up in that mess.
Have you seen those before, Skiva?
I've never
seen those.
The Razer Hydras. Nope.
You see, it's funny. This brings back so many. I haven't held these in my hands for years, guys. Like, I just pulled these out.
You're welcome.
I still see we got the Velcro here, right? Why do I have Velcro on these things? Because we were exploring in these early days how to play various instruments using hands. We would do live performances on stage in a social way, and we would have to Velcro these things to our wrists so that we could play the instruments, right? Amazing times. So, when I first got my DK1 headset, many of our first experiences, and I'm sure many of your audience members remember this as well, the Tuscany experience, right? At the Tuscany Villa. That was our first step into virtual reality, where you could explore this villa and walk up the stairs, and there was no there was no fixed off movements. It was all rotational tracking. You could look around, but you couldn't lean in and out with 6 degrees of freedom, right? So you'd have to use controls, keyboard, mouse, whatever, and move around that way. But there was parallax. You could rotate your head and see some parallax going on. They added that to it. They're pretty cool that they were able to do that. I remember just standing next to this candelabra. I must have stood there for 30 minutes just moving in, rotating my head, going, oh my God, I am present here. I'm in. That was the dream since age 10, to be in a virtual environment like that. So cool. The second thing that I remember doing was an application called Greebles. Greebles was like this black and white experience, but what it did really, it was abstract, these huge orbs and these squares that you were on, and they were all moving through space to music. But what was amazing about that experience was the sheer scale that it depicted. These things were enormous. And I remember the thought I had in my mind was, I just purchased for a few $100 my own planetarium. I am mind blown. I got my own planetarium on my head. I'm the guy watching the laser shows, Pink Floyd laser shows down at the planetarium. And here I got my own now. Amazing. And I remember I would lay down on the floor and do this experience, and I would go backwards and do the experience. And I probably spent 2 hours just doing this experience over and over, just grasping this sense of scale. Because that's right? This is what newcomers are always amazed by too, is it's true scale. Yeah. It's true scale. There's no other medium, again, that depicts true scale. If I were to have an alien spaceship, I saw it on a screen, unless I'm seeing that relative to something I'm familiar with, I have no idea how big that thing is. But in VR, you don't need to see it relative to anything. You could just have the spaceship there, and you can see the scale of that thing. Amazing, right?
It is amazing. In fact, I can remember my first VR experience in which I had scale demonstrated to me. And we're not the same, Chris. Like, you have been in the space for a long time, bro. Like, from the beginning, you have some crazy controllers I've never seen. My first VR experience was a PlayStation VR. So by the time I got into a headset for real, I'm playing stuff like London Heist, which is so awesome. Like, to this day, it holds up. It is so good. And another game that I played shortly after acquiring the PlayStation VR was Rush of Blood Until Dawn. And there is a level in Rush of Blood where there is a giant clown monster who's looking through the window at you, and his eyeball is bigger than you. And I remember seeing that giant in there and being it just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, it's a giant. That is so rad. Do you remember the first time that you had your mind blown by scale?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even just the shark in the PlayStation VR worlds, seeing how big that thing is and how big its mouth was and how it's coming after you and freaking out. But I mean, even all the way back into the 90s to the virtuality, playing Dactyl Nightmare, seeing that pterodactyl flying around, coming down, trying to grab you and pick you up and drop you, right? Oh my God, it's just so mind blowing. For sure.
It is. And
real quick, I just want to say hey to German Rifter in the chat.
Rifter,
heck yeah. And Ashley, what's up, guys and girls? And German Rifter, gonna see him in Germany.
I am getting in your suitcase. Dude, I have to be at this thing.
Dude, grab it. There's nonstop flights from Phoenix to Germany.
I'm going.
Let's go.
I'm going.
Let's go.
Right. Tell my boss I'm not going to be at work. Yeah. And Chris, I really like what you were saying about us teleporting our consciousness into these experiences, because I was actually having a conversation with my wife yesterday about teleporting our consciousness, because her and I have been playing World of Warcraft Classic together, and I was basically saying that that's what we're doing in World of Warcraft. Like, we are, like, it's a flat screen game, but you are 100% transferring your consciousness into that world. And like, when we think about our memories of playing that game together, we don't remember sitting in a chair at a desk. We remember riding on the back of wolves through the forest. You know, like, you really are transporting your consciousness to the experience. But you explain the difference with the fact that you're embodied in VR. Like, you're teleporting your consciousness, but in an embodied way, like where your hands and arms and legs and feet and head are all connected to that experience, as opposed to like just your consciousness. Like when I play World of Warcraft, it's like only my consciousness that's being transported, but in VR, it's your body and your consciousness. Like your body is also participating in that virtual realm, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I know.
True teleportation, the closest we've ever come. It's crazy.
We're so spoiled. We're so spoiled now with VR. We are. Remember these early experiences, man, when you it was great that there was so much experimentation going on, because we saw the wildest pieces of work, you know, through all those years, just really taking things out of the box, right? Way beyond the box. You know, a full experience was maybe like a room, a very realistic room, and you would spend an hour just walking around this one single room. And now we've got entire worlds that we can explore. It boggles my mind how far we've come. And now, you know, flat to VR, one of my favorite things ever, playing these AAA world experience. You know, I played Horizon Zero Dawn, the entire thing.
Wow.
In VR. Wow. 150 hours, 60 hours.
Wow.
Absolutely mind-blowing. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I mean, it's hard for me because I'll just sit down next to a creek in one of these experiences and just lose myself for 20 minutes, just watching birds fly around, watching the animals walk around, and just losing myself in those experiences.
Dude, I do that in kayak. I'll just sit there in a kayak in the middle of Costa Rica somewhere and just sit there and just take it in and just like immerse myself in, you know, in the beauty of the situation. And it's so funny you were saying that we're kind of spoiled now, and man, is that true, because we used to be like the Tuscany experience, right? That was like one like little house, and you could walk around and experience it and look at things, and people were mind blown. Now it's like you give someone $20 and they only get like 6 hours of content or something, and they're freaking out, right? So it's kind of funny how we've become so desensitized towards the amazement of these digital worlds.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like
what a cool opportunity for artists that are creating these experiences too, because, you know, traditionally on flat screen games, you're flying through environments, you're not stopping and smelling the roses often, right? That tends to be the case anyway. Whereas VR, it seems like it brings out a little something extra in us, where we're really slowing down and exploring the nooks and crannies and the details of an environment, which I think is another affordance of VR that kind of makes it special.
Well, one of the things I'm loving about this conversation right now is that it feels like we're all kind of seeing the value in like VR just as an experience, you know, like so many people out there like trying to figure out what makes VR valuable, or how can I leverage this, or like in what ways is this beneficial, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And as if we really are transporting our consciousness into these experiences, then that's kind of like asking, like, well, what's the meaning of life? You know, because if we're sitting here as conscious beings, like, we can do whatever we want. Like, it's up to us to determine how we want to spend our time in this experience that we call life, and what we want to prioritize, and, you know, how we want to spend it. And I feel like VR is like kind of going in that direction, right? Like right now it's used for gaming, it's used for enterprise training, it might be used for social experiences, but we're still always having to like make the argument for the value of virtual reality while it's not like fully adopted in the world. But like, I think there's value just inherently in it. Like the fact that you are able to do anything, right? Like you can have any type of experience you want. Like, I don't know, it's starting to feel like closer and closer, like real life and virtual life are like starting to converge.
I try to change, you know, a lot of people don't understand, that don't get it. Like you and your audience all get it already, but those that don't, it's like, folks, it's all real life. It's all real life, whether it's digital or physical, it's all real life. These discussions I'm having in virtual worlds and these things we're doing and these things we're building absolutely 100% carries over into the physical world. It changes. It's just different layers of which to operate in, you know, and one layer just doesn't happen to have the same level of restraints that the other level has.
For real. That's why this is legitimately why VR is a philosophical discussion, because you just nailed it. Like you said, no, it is real. It's real. Period. Like, you know, you can give a qualitative distinction between how real based or compared to this, but it is real, you know, like it is happening in the same way that dreams and hallucinations happen. Like maybe it's not this like shared experience. I can't have a dream and be like, hey, how about that dream? You're gonna be like, what dream? I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make my dream not real. It definitely happened. I have a memory of it. I have an experience of it. I felt something while I was in it. You know?
You had emotions during that experience. It's, you know.
Yes, and frankly, in my opinion, dreaming is a lost art, and it is a tragedy that people do not pay attention to it, give it credit, give value to it as an experience, like in the same way that it's not happening with VR for a lot of people. Like, we are dreamers. That's what we are. Like, as humans, you go to sleep, you are dreaming, baby. And that is a realm of reality in which you can do whatever you can train yourself to do. I'm not going to say whatever you want, because I want to do all kinds of stuff, but I can't do it.
Lucid dream as much as we would like to.
It's tough.
Some of us can, which is great. But, you know, we can do that in virtual reality. We can create what we want. And the Minecraft generation knows this through and through. Some of the most magnificent spaces ever have been built in Minecraft. That generation knows what's up.
They do.
There's no doubt this is going to permeate all aspects of our life, from education to business to entertainment to everything.
Everything.
And now it's very exciting to me. And again, this is another dream come true, is the mixed reality experiences. You know, how amazing is it of the progress we're making in mixed reality that I have brought so many people into my space right here, into my kitchen, into my living room, you know, because now at its very basic, you can take a Quest 3, it automatically scans your room and it puts blockouts of my table and the walls and things, pretty basic. Then you can take a scan now with your phone, right? Like using Scaniverse or whatever, and just take your scan of your environment, overlay it right over the top of that scan geometry. And when I bring people in, they're stepping into my kitchen that I scanned 30 minutes ago, you know, so they're effectively here. There's, oh, look, there's your headset and there's your laptop, and oh, there's the dirty dishes that you left over on the counter. They're here, and I'm watching them comment on the stuff that, from my perspective, is the real world, and we're mixing stuff up. And now we can add these features to the physical world that are operable, right? Like when I put on my headset and I go into engage, you know, I go into my mixed reality session and I've got that order pizza button right on my fridge, and I can push it and I can go through the process and order a pizza, and it'll arrive before I even take my headset off, you know? Bringing things to life, I can push that button on my coffee table and my entire room converts into this great theater room, and screens are coming up out of the ground and stuff because I've been able to use a no-code editor to make all of that happen. And that's another, you know, now that I think back, remember in the early days, people like me, coming from a psychology background, I wasn't a developer creator. I would watch these people like in VR Chat and Riftmax Theater and these different social VR apps bring in the most amazing things and just blow us away with this magic, right? And I was like, man, I wish I could do that. And now we're in a day and age where everybody has access to this easily. You can be anybody and bring in content by dragging and dropping stuff through a web app and having it appear right in your virtual space, being able to access any kind of a media. We are now all creators in these digital spaces, and we've made it easy to do that. And what a time to be alive where we can all be creators like that at such a high level. Now we're throwing AI into the mix. Look out, right? AI and VR are the marriage made in heaven.
Oh,
now we can
hallelujah.
speak things into existence.
Dude.
Our goal at Engage, to quote our CEO, David Whelan, we want the holodeck by the end of this year. The full-blown holodeck.
Let's go.
By the end of this year.
I don't see why that can't happen.
By the end of the year or the end of the decade?
End of the year, man.
End of the year. Let's go. All right.
Like, you know, like we can already go in and just speak stuff into existence. This is what's blowing educators' minds. I'll take teachers in, say, blank slate. I love blank slates, man. Blank slates are great. Blank slate. Here we are. What? Give me a topic. All right. We just talked about Pompeii. So I've done this with Pompeii inside of Engage. It's like, okay, let's bring in our AI assistant, Athena, and she appears. Athena, meet my friend so-and-so. Hi, how you doing? She says, the AI introduces herself. Here's what I can do in Engage. And we say, well, let's pick a topic. Pompeii, great. Okay, well, let's set the scene for that. Hey, Athena, create skybox of Pompeii, street view, cloudy day, but 45 seconds later, there we are in Pompeii. Maybe we're right there in the Central Plaza. Okay, cool. Tell us about Pompeii. Give us the history of Pompeii. Bum, bum, bum. She tells us the history. What are the 5 top attractions of Pompeii? Put that in the form of a sticky note. Boom. There's the sticky note. There's the 5 bullet points. Okay, now let's make lesson plans around those bullet points. And when you give us the lesson plans, give it to us in the form of these documents so we can see them. Boom, 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 boom. There's a bunch of, there's all your lesson plans right there. Yeah, Athena, play us a video of Pompeii, a tour through Pompeii. 5 seconds later, there's your big screen that's popped up. Walking, getting a tour guide through Pompeii. Athena, can you do a little role play with us? Sure, I can do some role play. What would you like me to do? Well, I want you to be a ranger, and I want you to be an expert in the city of Pompeii, and I want you to take us on a tour, and I want you to teach us, and then I want you to give us a quiz on what we learned to see how well we've learned it. No problem. And there you go, man. She's off and running, and we're having these experiences. Athena, make it rain. She goes into our IFX library, pulls in a rainstorm, and now it's raining all around. Dude,
so it's endless.
She's got the vision too. Athena, what am I looking at? Let me draw an equation in the air with my 3D pen. Boom. I'm looking at this equation. Tell me how to solve that equation. She can see what I'm looking at. And boom, now she's walking me through how to solve that equation. Guys, this is happening today, right now. Like we're there.
That is
now
insane.
We just need to take it to the next levels, and now we need that camera feed, right, from all the headsets, because I always bring Athena into my real world space, and I want her to see what I'm looking at in the real world, and we need access to the camera feed in order to do that, so then she can literally walk me through how to fix my sink or do whatever, or have her come to me at my hotel window and say, describe to me the scene in front of me. What am I looking at? Where should I go as a tourist in this city? And she'll be able to tell me, you know?
Right, so let me ask you this, because there are certainly a lot of people who are anti-AI. They are like, no, that's not good. And these are the reasons why, because you know, it's stealing from artists or creatives or writers or whatever, and repurposing other people's work for stuff. Like, I'm sure you've heard some arguments against AI. Like, do you sympathize with any of that stuff?
Yeah, sure. I do sympathize. You know, when you're an artist that's carved out an entire life built on a specific style, you know, it's your style, and you see that an AI can come in and mimic that, that's tough.
Yeah.
But I want to step back and maybe look at that from a different view, and maybe this is an unpopular view. I'm just telling you what my thoughts are. I'm like, isn't that the way we become artists in the first place? Is we're being inspired by all the artwork that we've seen through our life, and that's now coming through in our own novel way. So those my mind goes in those directions, and it's hard. And I guess we're already there, man.
It's too late.
argue all we want, we're there. I do see some organizations doing some pretty cool things. Like, for example, I used to work at Daz 3D with a sister company called Morph 3D that made avatars. One of my bits of background, and they're doing some cool stuff because they've got insane amount of content, of virtual spaces and content and avatars, and so they're training the AI all on that content specifically, so you don't have to worry about treading on other people's art styles and such, so I don't know how all of this turns out in the end, but I do know I'm actually absolutely enamored by the fact that I can just go in there and talk my realities into existence.
It is amazing.
I can't agree with you more. I am so in love with VR and AI and the combination of the two. Real quick, I want to say what's up to Q2C VR Gamer that came in and dropped a $10 super chat to say 3 legends. Chris is the real deal. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Q2C VR Gamer. I'm sure it's probably Eric, could be Todd, but either one of you, you're my favorite.
Those are some cool dudes.
Heck yeah.
You guys got the best community.
We all have the best. Like, it's your community too, man. Like, it is crazy.
Dude, and let me just chat a little bit about community, because this is the coolest thing. This is why we are where we are today. So this is how it's different in 2012 when the DK1 came out versus the decades of VR prior. Is we had social media. This is the first time. So 60,000 of these DK1s were distributed out through the world. And we all got to come together as developers and enthusiasts, and everybody had their own unique roles. Even if it wasn't directly developing for this developer kit, we all carved out a niche of some sort. We supported it, we moved it forward. The only way we were able to do that is because of where social media was today, that we could have these different forums that we could meet in and chat and stuff. So my first foray into social VR, I believe it really was the first social VR app that came out on the DK1. You had to struggle to find it. You had nowhere to go. It was RiffMax Theater. First time I had my experience, I put it on and I ended up in the hallway of a theater, and this gentleman approached me, and I actually tried to take a step back, but there's no 6th degree of freedom, so I couldn't. He invaded my personal space bubble. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's presence. This guy invaded my personal space bubble, and I responded to that, and turns out the guy I ran into was Mike Armstrong, the developer of RiffMax Theater. And RiffMax Theater was such a cool place because it was the first, it became like this hot spot for developers to just kind of fall into. Kyle from Upload VR, Kyle Reisenbach was there, and Blair, and all these early folks were all there. And we would have these late night roundtable discussions with Gunter from Gunter's Universe, and just talk about VR and come together. What are you doing? And what are you doing? And what are you bringing to the table? Holy shit, I want to be a part of that. And blah, blah. And it just became a thing. And we would have late night karaoke shows, get up on stage and be scared shitless because you're feeling like you're actually on a stage singing full of mostly. And it was funny because David Whelan and Sandra Whelan, our CEO and COO over at Engage, were part of that community too, the early adopter community. They would come in and participate in this. And David created the Apollo 11 experience, I think it was out on the DK1. If not DK1, it was for sure out on the DK2. Beloved experience. People showed this at meetups all the time because it was one of those experiences that pretty much guaranteed you're going to shed a tear because, oh my God, I'm there. I've always wanted to be an astronaut. Now I am an astronaut, and I'm riding up the moon with the guys, Neil Armstrong and the crew, and you're orbiting Earth, you're landing on the moon. It's just an amazing experience, and the music was awesome, and big deal. And he made some money on that. It was Kickstarter.
Nice.
He used that money to invest with Mike Armstrong, that platform became Engage. So Engage has been evolving over 10 years, and the stated purpose of that acquisition was we want to make educators rock stars. We want to give them the tools and the power to educate in ways which we've only seen in Star Trek. And, experiential learning is legit. And he recognized that early on. And so for me, coming to work with Engage after I went on my mini adventures was, in a way, coming back to family because it was so early in its day, its origins. So that's a little history there.
That's so good. So, I mean, so your work, you actively work on helping people adopt this platform to do that. That's your job. And I'm assuming that you've been successful at least a few times in that. So, tell me a little bit about how, what kind of adoption are you seeing? And are these people coming back to you and saying, holy crap, you just transformed my classroom, or you transformed my lesson or stuff like that?
Yeah, so, it's certainly been a journey. I can tell you this, we've gone from a few years back where it was exciting for organizations to adopt 10 licenses, 10 headsets. It was all very experimental. People are trying to figure this out. And then we see it move to dozens of headsets and licenses, to hundreds, and now thousands. And we see targets of tens of thousands. I mean, it is happening, guys. It's going up.
Mm-hmm.
The metaverse thing was kind of an interesting little phase of hype and reduction, and now kind of coming back under the guise of spatial computing, So, it certainly hasn't been as smooth. It's been kind of, but it's happening. It's happening. And the fact that we're deploying thousands of headsets to single organizations, pretty exciting.
That's incredibly exciting.
Pretty wild. I want to hit a question that Jay Dunn asked in chat too. He was wondering if Engage would be coming to the Apple Vision Pro at any time.
That is the plan, sir. Yes.
Nice.
Obviously, a lot of refactoring to do. A little side fun note: if you do have an AVP, you can download the because we're on a ton of different devices, including iPad, right? So you can do the iPad version on Apple Vision Pro and use your two thumb, your pinch and your two, and steer your avatar around and stuff. But official support, it'll be coming down the road, but there's a fair amount of work to do for refactoring for pure hand controls and all of that. So, but yeah, exciting. I got my AVP here. I love it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
I do use my Quest 3 more because I kind of look at Quest 3 as like the all-terrain vehicle, and got the limo over here, which is great for a lot of things too.
Right, that's a hilarious analogy. And for the record, I love the Quest 3.
I do too.
The best headset ever.
Okay, my favorite thing about, dude, I get a smile every time I do that. I'm laying in bed late at night. I'm going. And the fact that I can have my Steam home room show up for my Quest 3, it's like, yes, baby, PC VR night from my home on a Quest 3, wirelessly with Steam Link.
Right? And now you can use the lay down feature in the new version of Quest to lay down and make it feel like you're still standing up, even on PC VR, which is absolutely wild. Really cool stuff.
That is wild. $10 super chat from VR Central.
Hey,
Wise Director. Dude, shout out to VR Central. This guy's channel blew up this month, legitimately blew up. He has gotten, I think, 3 times his subscriber count, or 4 times his subscriber count in the past month.
Yep.
I think he was maybe 45K or something
like that. Then he blew past 100K, got his play button on the way, and then now he's at 188,000.
Closing in on 200.
Crazy.
So
through
rad,
the roof.
dude. Congratulations.
What a good guy.
VR Central.
I'm so happy for him.
I would say subscribe, but if he has 188K, you're probably already a subscriber.
Probably.
So, hey, thanks, Wise, for the super chat.
I like seeing good people succeed.
Me too. And now we know how well you're doing. Maybe the next super chat will, go up. You know what I mean? I'm just teasing. Thank you, brother.
You want to see that red color.
Yeah. That's hilarious. No, actually, but this guy, Wise has always been so generous. Not just with super chats and stuff, but with his own community. I remember he was buying BHaptics vests for his community before he owned one himself.
Yep.
He's like, I'm giving away a BHaptics vest. I'm like, well, what about yours? He's like, oh, I don't have one.
And he works for Impact Reality, and he works so hard.
He cranks content
so hard. He is such an awesome guy. So anyway, I guess.
Have you ever made content, Chris, like VR, like gameplay footage or videos or anything like that?
Yeah, I have made a little. I've dabbled. I certainly create, virtual content, and I've shot my fair share of videos. I've gotten fairly decent at it. I haven't gone for getting followers and all that stuff. I just do it for kicks and share with friends, Yeah,
that's how it all starts.
It's great to capture your gameplay and stuff. It's so fun.
Well, but see, for you, like, you have other, you like know things, like you're like involved in the VR world, and like maybe you weren't like an engineer, you come from a different background, kind of like us, but like now you're pretty hands-on, you know what I mean? For a lot of us, like, we go from being gamers, purely gamers, to then content creators, and then that's where opportunity for us to get involved in the industry happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I'm a gamer at heart too. From junior high, playing the text adventures of Zork,
nice,
nice. Onward. My first 3D experiences were Doom and some of these early games. I remember being absolutely. And again, it's exactly what I did in Tuscany, right? In VR. I remember going to that first window in Doom, looking out on that alien landscape. I'm just strafing back and forth going, holy shit, this is parallax. This is amazing. Same thing.
That's great. And now you're seeing people like reskin. First of all, you can play Doom 3 in VR, not just the first Doom, but also Doom 3. And all people are reskinning Doom and like using that engine to bring like the Legend of Zelda into VR, like Legend of Zelda 1, like the OG Legend of Zelda. You can play that running on the Doom engine now in VR. Like Gamertag does videos on this stuff all the time, and it is just amazing. Like, did you ever think for a second that we would actually be able to put ourselves inside the world of these NES games and stuff that we were playing, or old school computer games? Like, I never thought for a second I'd be able to. I
kind of saw it coming because the early VR chat, man. You saw these worlds popping up in there that were emulating these old school
or Steam VR Home
games. Steam VR Home, true. There's another topic to chat about.
What an underrated thing, right? People don't understand that Steam VR Home isn't just that one room. It's an entire metaverse full of worlds. It's absolutely crazy.
Really ready to be turned on. I'm like, Valve, what are we doing here? Where's the Deckard? When are you going to flip on your metaverse? You're ready to go. It's there. The framework is all there, and it performs so good, and it looks these levels in there look good. These spaces look gorgeous.
They really do, and people don't even know about it. It's absolutely nuts, and they don't spend time in there because Valve, for some reason, won't turn on free locomotion in their home space, even in 2024. Still get to teleport around. It's absolutely nutty. But I've seen some of the best looking worlds I have ever seen in Steam VR Home. It is crazy.
100%.
Seriously,
and it's multiplayer. You can travel these worlds and do quests with your friends.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Super Mario 64 Castle is a Steam VR Home. And it's not just the castle, it's also the levels. Like when you go up to the paintings, boom, now you're in like the level. And it's like, what? Like how? Like when I was a kid playing Super Mario on Nintendo 64, I definitely did not think I would one day be able to be fully embodied in those environments. Never saw that coming. Did not.
100%.
So it's amazing to live here in the future. And now to your point, we're spoiled. Now it's like that's old news. Like that was yesterday, like
how excited are you guys for it? One of my other big passions is reality capture in VR, right? Bringing the real world into the virtual world. How enamored are you guys with like Gaussian splats?
Oh, dude, I love that stuff. I have been scanning rooms and worlds. Like I have the last two places I lived, I've scanned in and brought them into Resonite, and you can walk around in some of my old paths, right? And I've taken, it's funny, right? Like I have a 10-year-old daughter, and sometimes when it's time to like get rid of some of her old stuff, she has a little bit of a cow because she's like, I have memories attached to this. Now we can take a Gaussian splat of some of these things, get rid of the physical object, and she can go see it anytime she wants. She can even pull it up in VR and hold the thing, right?
Like
and
a stuffed animal.
Yeah, like stuffed animal, like all of this stuff. You can just take a splat of it, and then it's there. And then like for some reason, then it's okay to get rid of the object. She still is like associating the memory with that thing.
I'll tell you what, if my parents took Gaussian splats on my Sega Genesis and my NES and got rid of them after, I don't think
that's different. Those are video game consoles. This is like a toy or a statue of something or a figure or a stuffed animal, right?
Yeah.
It's very, very different. You can't play.
It's the closest to the Matrix I think I've experienced. And for those that have, your Quest 3s that want to experience that, download the app called Gracia. And you can do it. It's one thing doing it on your phone, but going into full VR, walking through a Gaussian splat. Tipatat actually gave me my first introduction. You were there.
Yes.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, it's South by.
And he had it all hooked up to his laptop and stuff. Yep. And, if you guys all know Tipatat, he is a foodie. Yep. He's like, you go to his Facebook page every day, he's like posting up these amazing dishes of food. So he's capturing those as Gaussian splats, and he brought all those in, and we all got a chance to try it out for our first times. And what blew my mind is not only how incredibly photoreal, because you're not using geometry anymore. You're using the Gaussian dots, and it's. I like to look at it as like molecules, right? It's like molecules all brought together for this very high photorealistic experience. But where it shines over photogrammetry is you can see reflections on surfaces and move around and see those reflections behaving as they would in the real world. Looking at the translucency of that tomato that he's got in that sandwich. Yeah. Your mouth is like watering because it's so freaking real. You're seeing the sparkles of moisture on there, and you're moving and seeing the translucency of that tomato changing. And it's so smooth, it's just so good. It's just the next level beyond a standard photogrammetry scan. And I can't wait to see more of these coming into platforms like Engage and VRChat and all these things. So that's exciting.
I would love to
see that evolve.
I'd love to see an app where you could use, and again, you need access to the cameras, but I'd love to see an app where you could use just the cameras on the Quest and you just walk around something and just pull in Gaussian splats like automatically.
Yes.
That would be so amazing.
Well, and that's where it's going to go, right, guys? Yeah, we're capturing geometry, but we're going to be able to capture the images as well. I mean, I'm just going to circle around in my room. I'm going to say, guys, come and hang out at my living room. We're going to watch a movie together here you're literally going to come to my room. And it's going to get to a point where that room is kind of changing in real time because it's constantly scanning. I want to see a time where, my grandson can be having a birthday and blowing out the cakes, and my mom is teleporting in from 100 miles away and participating in that experience. We're getting there. We're moving in that direction.
That's one of the cool things about Vario. So Vario has a feature that can teleport people into where you are. With the cameras, the high definition cameras on the Vario will scan the room and create the environments and then bring the people into your environment, and you can all share that space together. It is like the closest thing to actual teleportation I've seen with the least amount of effort. So we are definitely getting there, and I do look forward to the day where we do get access to the cameras on the Quest. But it's such a scary thing at the same time because like how do you control that? How do you control if we can pull real-time imagery and 3D things of everything we're seeing, how do we not then allow that to get out to the world and be used in all different kinds of ways? It's like it takes that whole privacy thing to a new level. But man, I'm still so excited for that day. I mean, there's so much potential there, right? Like, bring it.
And maybe just quickly, maybe you can give us some thoughts on privacy in the XR space. Like, I'm talking a little bit about this on the past couple of episodes, getting a couple of different perspectives. Like when Facebook bought Oculus, everybody freaked out. Everyone's like, no, Facebook, they steal all your data, and I'm not going to do that. And now we all own Quests, and we've kind of forgotten about that. Do you think privacy in the space is something that we really need to still kind of be considering and hopefully getting ahead of? Do you trust the people that are controlling these things right now? Do you have any thoughts?
I don't trust it. I think we need to be concerned about it. I mean, talk about the amount of types of things we're putting out there is very personal. And if we're using the metaverse for business, we're putting up documents that are sensitive. And I guess this is why, Engage is a bit different from your average, virtual world. Is we're really, when you go to Engage, you can see some public stuff, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg. 95% of everything that happens in Engage is siloed, private worlds that belong to different organizations, where in a way they're kind of creating their own little private metaverses, and it's locked down, and we've got all the security features in that. So we're a bit of a different beast that way, and you have to be. We work with Fortune 500 companies, and it is a heck of a process to meet those security concerns and make sure that you.
What headsets are you deploying for something like that?
On a day-to-day basis, my privacy isn't safe when I'm playing games and hanging out with people and
just walking around and talking. You have a phone in your pocket that's listening to everything.
This thing is literally going to give me an advertisement for Gaussian Splash or something after this. It's listening to us at all times. What headsets are you deploying when you're sending them out to these Fortune 500 companies?
Everything.
Are they using Quest platform? Mm-hmm. Okay, so because it's like the hardware really because the privacy concerns start with the hardware there. Not so much on the platform side, but it's like, if you're buying this hardware, you're buying into Facebook, right? So I know a lot of
considerations for companies to make, and a lot of companies, they do hear Facebook, Meta, and they're like instantly, nope. Yeah. So what? Let's go with ByteDance.
Oh god.
Vive Focus. I feel like the Vive Focus 3 is like the option a lot of people use. Hey, GT Gamertag VR, he's here. What's up, man?
Hey,
we love you.
Gamertag.
You're really cool. So it's definitely awesome that we're getting into this future where the fidelity of all this stuff is increasing dramatically. We're looking at images in the headset and we're like, wow, that looks real life. Such a good.
Paradise Decay asked me to pat my head and rub my tummy to prove that it's
live.
Proof it's live. So I just did that kind of out of context.
That's hilarious. The fact that we're reading comments live is all you need, but sure, let's make them dance.
That's funny.
Shout out to Paradise Decay. I've leaned on Paradise Decay a lot in my flat to VR gaming experiences.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Tips and tricks, awesome stuff. Last time I think I really interfaced with Paradise Decay, we were at a concert inside of VR chat together when I last saw him, which there's another topic. The stuff that goes on in VR chat is absolutely mind-blowing. Some of these concerts I've been to in there and underground scenes, just incredible
it really
creativity.
Is. $5 super chat from ClassyGrandma. Again, Classy, what the hell? You're too nice. Chris is a really cool guy. Keep on keeping on. I think you got a new fan, Mr. Chris Madsen of Engage. So anyway, the question I'm trying to ask, or I was going to ask, is really about the future of this tech and BCI, because right now VR experiences are hijacking of your sensory perception organs. It's like a flashing light over your eyeball, a sound waveform in your ear, a vibration of a motor in your hand. But as the fidelity of that increases to get closer and closer to real life, do you think that will accomplish that one-to-one experience using hardware, or do you foresee this being an inevitable BCI kind of future where we kind of just get in and just tell the brain what to experience, almost like lucid dreaming?
I think the latter. I don't know if I'm going to see that in my lifetime, maybe yours. But I do think wow, man, we're going to be doing a lot with the eyes, that's for sure. The eyes truly are the window of the soul, and there's so much information you can gather from the eyes. Being able to, the perspiration, the heartbeat, all of these things being measured. I have to ask, how far do you want to go, right? I don't. There's going to be certain training simulations and stuff like that where I think that stuff's going to be very important, but how much of that biological data do we want out there to fulfill this one-to-one experience in as real of a way as we possibly can? I'm not sure if I really want that. And I'm pretty die-hard. I love VR so much, but I don't know if I want that data accessed to that point. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. If I'm going to answer my own question, I think we'll get into the brain before hardware achieves the fidelity of the human experience. I think it's really hard to to recreate this thing. Like, your hand is amazing. There's like this really cool quote that I'll probably be botching right now from somebody who I don't remember, but they're basically talking about like the sensitivity of your fingertip and how if you were to like blow your fingertip up to the scale of the planet, that you could feel the difference between a car and a house on a street.
Yeah,
like that is how sensitive your finger is. So like, if it's amazing amazing tools that we have. I don't see how we could possibly create hardware that will fully replicate what our bio thing can do, but I do see the potential to like get in between the brain waves or whatever, like the your synapses or the electrical impulses that are firing, and like send a different message, you know, and be like, hey, actually, instead of this, you're experiencing this, and like forcing a lucid dream on someone. Like, I can totally foresee this wild ass scientific or science fiction future where that becomes the path to like giving someone an immersive experience versus like strapping a bunch of hardware to them.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty. It seems so intrusive, though, to get to that point.
Oh, certainly.
So intrusive.
Certainly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know, but it is interesting. You've seen those experiments where they can replicate in a drawing what you're thinking, right? You've seen that. It's
yeah, Facebook
wild.
has a technology where they can, right now you have to be in an MRI, but they show you an image and then they take brain scans, and in real time they're showing you what the person is looking at. It is not identical, but it is very, very close. Enough to where you would know exactly what that person is kind of seeing. So it's absolutely nuts. The whole thing with the haptic fidelity, you can, like you were saying, you can feel all this stuff in a dream. You have full use of your haptics, your in-body haptics in a dream, right? And that's a very, very hard thing to tap into. It's a hard thing to tap into your visuals, into your nervous system. But the thing is, we are creating this like ultra powerful artificial intelligence right now that can be run on in a million different instances on a million different servers at a million times speed, and have all of these things banging away at these problems until they've found a way to kind of accomplish some of this stuff. And I feel like we're going to see a lot of advancements and things that it's like, oh, this stuff's 200 years away. But now we can bang away at this stuff. It's in so many different levels so quickly. Who knows what's going to happen? I would love to see like full immersive in-brain VR at some point. I mean, it's so sci-fi, right? But who knows? I just want to see. I wish I could live 3 times my life only to see the things that are going to happen in VR and XR and AI.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, you know, I'm like, 99% of the time I'm like, oh yeah, I have an inevitable death on the way, like, and I subscribe to that. But there is a 1% time in my life where I do think that's also an illusion. Like, I mean, this is starting to get weird, but it's almost like every day you wake up is like you're waking up into a dream, you know, and like you just like you have this memory that you're associating with who you are, and like you have these stories in your head that like determine how you got to where you are that day. But like, I don't know. Anyway, I think I should probably not go much further down that road. But yeah, it's incredibly interesting, and you know, there's never been a more exciting time to be alive, really. Like, it would be great to live longer, but there were people who existed for thousands and thousands of years who didn't see shit, and now we are seeing things like every 6 months. We're seeing things happening, you know. So it's really, really exciting.
How cool is it that we get to take a front row seat to the evolution of human communication? Like, we were leveling up as a species on how we communicate. We've now reached experiential communication. That's a new feat for humans, and we get to have a front row seat to that.
Dude, for real.
It is crazy. There was my kid was watching some show the other day, and someone had called them to change long distance carriers, and she had no idea what the heck was going on, right? Because for her, she can get on a phone into a VR headset and see and talk to people from all over the world, and there's no costs associated with that, right? There's no, besides the cost of your internet and the device itself. You used to have to pay like per minute to get to someone over in Asia or something, right? It was very, very expensive. And now we kind of have free reign to talk to anyone in the world at any time we want for extremely minimal cost. And that alone is...
That's telepathy, bro. Just like VR is teleportation, the way we communicate in this world literally is telepathy. Like I can have a thought and you could be on the other side of the planet and I can input my thought into your head using a device. Like
that's quantum communication right there, man. And it's like legit, isn't it?
It is legit. It is legit. And it just feels like, we're pushing towards this like literally like new evolution of the human experience, like maybe we, what do they call it? The singularity or whatever. Like we stop existing as individuals and start functioning more as a whole, like I do think there would, I don't know what that would do to the human experience if like all of a sudden we do wake up and like we're literally communicating telepathically, like literally, like I actually think human beings may have the ability to do that. I know that sounds insane, but I do. Like I think we're already doing it, and it's just a matter of making this tool smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually like there's just nothing there.
Yeah, we need less friction. I've been actually thinking a lot this week just about friction and payoff. It's like, the experience needs to have more value than the friction for this all to succeed. And we still have quite a bit of friction there. It's kind of funny, when I look at like even the Engage platform, right? We're a collaboration platform, training, teaching, all this, but I don't see a lot of office collaboration type stuff happening on that platform. Nobody wants a typical boardroom meeting, have to put on a headset and all this friction to do what we can kind of do on a screen here with these 2D tools that we have. What I do see people using it for is training experiences and team building exercises. I mean, I remember when I worked at Exxon, they used to spend good money on doing like ropes courses and team building exercises. You can do that times 100 in virtual reality, and people don't forget it. So there's lots of really valuable things you can do in virtual reality that bring value. It exceeds the friction, but there's a lot of things that it's the reverse on. Where I do see things changing is with AI, because AI is going to change that collaboration game. Because when you go into a meeting, you're going to want this. You're going to want that AI representative agent right there sitting at the table with you, fulfilling lots of different roles. Project manager, expert on a piece of information, being able to even drive that meeting in a successful way, being aware of everything that's being said and consolidating things. And it'll be an actual useful tool and a reason why you want to put a headset on and either have that meeting in the mixed reality space or virtual reality space and have AI assisting in that and elevating it to a level that makes it worth it.
So I saw some videos on your YouTube channel, on Engage's YouTube channel, showing off a bunch of AI features in Engage. Are these experimental or are they currently in there? Could you go in and play with this now?
You probably saw where it was different historical figures. So those are really, so we've been working on AI for well over a year now, right? And we have our basic AI, which we call Athena, that does our generative stuff and can role play and do all those things you would expect like a chat GPT to do, but also do all the generative stuff. And then we took all of our existing stuff that we created and we're like, you know what? Let's do some really cool stuff with this. So let's build the school of AI where we bring back historical figures like Neil Armstrong and whatnot. So you go visit Neil Armstrong on the surface of the moon, and it's actually using his voice, and you can ask him whatever questions you want, and he's aware of the environment, and you can spend an hour just diving in deep to learn about the whole lunar landing experience and what life was like at that time, and what it was like even pre-launch, what he had to go through, and all these things. Super intimate, very cool experience. If you go see Shakespeare, you can go to his theater, and he's there, and he can answer these questions too, and you can push this button. You'll see these little discs appear where you and your colleagues can go step into these circles and take on different roles. Like Macbeth, you can take on the roles of the witches. The witch's costume comes on and you can stir the bubbling cauldron and stuff. and the prompts come up that only you can see on the stage, and you can live out an experience giving a production on stage, and Shakespeare's there guiding you all along and answering all your questions in the process. We have about a dozen characters that we've done that with, and I think we're going to continue to expand because it's quite a hit. People are really digging it.
Nice. There are, for the record, there's links in the description to engage. If you haven't been in this platform, this is probably a pretty good place to start, right?
It is. A little caveat. So all of our AI is still in beta. Our next release is when we're going to start. We are working with early partners right now, but you're really going to see some stuff start to happen with our next release, because you'll be able to tie in our AI accounts with your existing ChatGPT accounts and stuff, and you'll be able to create your own agents and do all these really cool things.
Cool. So now would be a good time to get in there, get your feet wet, maybe get your bearings, learn the ropes a little bit, and then with the next update, you'll have some cool AI features that everybody can take advantage of. I love that. So we're going to start to wrap this up, but I want to ask you one more question. In talking about how far we've come and mainstream adoption, like you've been in VR for 12-ish years, give or take. Did you first of all, this is like a multi-part question. Is I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but is mainstream adoption of VR technology inevitable? Did you think we would have seen it by now? And what, in your opinion, is the primary obstacle of that?
Okay. In some ways, things have come faster than I expected. In some ways, it's come slower. I was hoping for more mainstream adoption prior to now, for sure. But what I wasn't expecting so soon was the AI component, and the mixed reality is really accelerating. So those are coming a bit faster than I thought they would, especially the AI, I think, is going to propel everything forward. I'm sorry, what was the other part of that question?
Is mainstream adoption of VR inevitable, and what, in your opinion, is the
inevitable? Not mainstream adoption of XR is inevitable. Clarify that, because I think mixed reality is has the potential to reach a lot more people than VR. Perfect example. Even though I've been doing VR all this time, my dad never put on a headset until mixed reality really became viable. So the Quest 3 was the first headset he put on, and he absolutely loved it. He was scared of VR for some reason. He would see people put it on their headsets and doing this crazy stuff. Yeah. He's like, man, they're possessed. What is going on? This is taking over their brain. He was fearful, but mixed reality, no fear there, and he loved it.
That's great.
There's a lot of people out there that are kind of in that same mind. It's less intimidating for people. So I think XR as a whole, of course it's inevitable, because it's going to bring too much value. You're going to be at a disadvantage in some circumstances if you're not using that technology.
Yeah. So what's standing in the way today of mainstream of technology, or mainstream adoption of XR technology?
Awareness of what it's capable of, I would say, is a big part of that. And in a lot of ways, there's still more friction than value than the payoff still. But I feel like, I think the Quest 3 and this whole new era of standalone headsets is kind of a tipping point. We're crossing some sort of a threshold here where the value is more than the friction. I gotta tell you, I was really disappointed when the focus went from PC VR to the Quest 1 and these early versions of standalone headsets, and I was watching the PC VR titles decrease, and just a bunch of garbage was coming up. I was really kind of depressed about that whole thing. Thank God for Flat to VR, revitalizing what we can do in VR. But now, I'm actually satisfied. Quest 2 collected dust for me. Quest 3, I use it all the time.
Quest 3 is awesome.
Finally, we're at a place where these are decent experiences on a standalone headset. Yeah.
Amen to that. Skiva, is there anything you want to bring up here?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's friction, it's cost, and it's people still being super self-conscious of what they look like. People
like dad.
Yeah, exactly. They're not just, they don't want people to look at them and think they're weird. They don't want to have markings on their face when they take it off and messed up hair. It's a lot of ego stuff. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Of reasons why that they don't want to get in there. They're afraid of what being judged ultimately with something on their face. But then, most of the time you get people in there, and if you show them the right things, and you don't throw them in a roller coaster and be a jerk, right? Then they're going to see, a lot of people can see the potential of where this is headed and why it's pretty awesome now. The other thing is we need to cure motion sickness somehow, right? Because people do not understand that it is something that like how to get through it. Like I remember when ShortStack first got his VR headset, he would get deathly ill. Like he would be on the couch like sick for hours and hours, but he just kept going in for 5 minutes at a time every day. And now I can bring him in Resonate. We can like throw him around and launch him off of worlds, and he's completely fine. You can't get the guy sick anymore. So like the problem is that we have
average people aren't gonna.
No, they're not. They're not going to do that.
Man.
They're totally not.
But
we got to solve these problems.
We call it VR legs, and I love this analogy. We call it VR legs because it's akin to sea legs. Like when you first do it, you get nauseous and you get sick. It's just like being on a boat. But to say VR is dead because it makes you feel that way, in my opinion, is almost like saying boats are dead because you get sick when you go on one. Like, no, they're not. Like, you just need to boat a little bit more. And once you do, you'll get comfortable and everything will be good. And I'm sure you can see the value of the experience, even if you are getting sick on the boat. I'm out on the water. Holy crap, there's the sunset. This is lovely. And now I'm sick. So I enjoyed it until I felt that way. You know what I mean? So I feel like we can still separate those two things, and most people don't, unfortunately. They're like, nope, that made me sick and I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, I mean, if you ate some food and it made you want to vomit, would you eat it again? And you're like, no, you know what? As long as you just eat it a couple times in small doses, you know what I mean? So that's not usually how people think about this stuff, but the value that's there being like, it is just such mind-blowing technology. And if we can somehow just solve that and make it so it's never even a thing, I think a lot of people are going to hop in. I talk to people all the time and they're like, oh, you're into that VR thing. Oh man, I wish I could do that. It makes me so sick. And it's like, oh man, come on. And they're like, oh yeah, I had that old Oculus, and they're talking about the one you put your phone into, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh dude. It's just such a bummer. And these are the little things that if we can somehow figure out how to get by them, make devices smaller, lighter, cheaper, and the fidelity of the experience is greater, along with better, legitimate pass-through and augmented reality that becomes more and more believable in the real world, and show those real world not necessarily gaming, but show real world benefit and things that help people every day. Then the sky's the limit.
Yeah. All it takes is one decision maker getting sick, and you can kiss a 6-figure, 7-figure deal out the window. It's gone. I've seen it happen, right? It's no joke. This is why, again, it's so important to introduce people, educate people, and introduce them in the right way, with always that mindset of what's going to be comfortable for them. Let's take it slow, a step at a time.
Yeah. Thank you for calling out the motion sickness thing, because I think as VR people, we do forget about
we forget, because you can't make us motion sick anymore, right? And so we just, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Or for me, I like the value is higher than, like I sometimes I do get a little nauseous depending on what I'm doing, and I don't not put the headset on again. I just take it off for the night. I'm happy to go back in there. All right, so Chris, I want to bounce the ball into your court one more time before we wrap this up. Any topics that were top of mind, anything that you think is important about VR that we should get into quickly, or maybe you just have some closing words to wrap this thing up?
I just think it's, I guess my closing words would be, it's just such an exciting time in the VR industry. I think we did hit a little bit of lull there for a bit. I see that reversing. I see a lot of excitement in the industry and a lot of people paying closer attention than they have in the past. And I think things are going the right way. I'm seeing a lot more interest from enterprise, and education for sure is just really starting to take off. I think a lot of educators are realizing that we're moving into a spatial computing era, and we need to prepare our students to operate within that space, and platforms like Engage are a perfect way to introduce people into how to operate within a spatial platform, how to build in a spatial platform, how to use third-party tools to bring into a spatial platform. It's kind of that whole little ecosystem in a bubble there that helps educate people how to do that. And so we're moving forward, and the younger generations are now in positions of decision making too. The old guard's going out. It's just, I see it happening. I've been watching it a long time. I see it happening. I have a lot of hope here, especially over the last 6, 8, 12 months. I'm seeing a turn.
Hell yeah. I absolutely love it. Dude, this was so rad. Like, this is truly a quintessential Between Realities episode. This is exactly what we're looking for when we do these things. And I knew it would be, you know, which is why I wanted you on here so badly. So I'm so glad that we finally were able to make this happen, Chris. Like, you are certainly somebody who we look up to in the space. And I look forward to seeing you at every single event. Like, you are the man, dude. So it really means a lot to us that you spend some time today to share your thoughts, share your perspective, and just overall be an awesome dude. So thank you for that.
Love you guys, and thanks so much for all you guys are doing, all the work you're putting in on moving this medium forward, and your audience as well. Everybody here is so awesome.
Things could be a lot worse, man.
Heck yeah.
You know, I know it won't be too long before we see you again at another event. So reach out in the meantime if you need us for anything, and I guess we'll share a drink at another conference soon, man.
Cheers, guys. Have a fabulous weekend.
Thank you so much, everybody. Right. Please join us in saying goodbye to Chris Madsen. Thank you so much, brother. Bye-bye. We'll see you soon. And he's gone.
And there he goes.
And wow.
There he goes. What a great episode. I mean, but like you said, we knew it was going to be. What an amazing guy. Dude, Chris is, right?
Chris,
and he thinks on another level.
Chris is a reason, literally a reason to go to a conference.
Yes,
like
100%.
You, like, if you were like, should I or shouldn't I? Like, now that you've met Chris, the answer is yes, you should. Like, because it's not just him. While of course he is certainly a highlight of every conference that I go to. Our whole community is awesome. Have you guys not figured that out yet? That's what this whole show is all about. Everybody is so amazing. It is mind-blowing. And, you know, we were even talking before the show, like, there's the two addictions. Like, there's the technology. Like, we all get hooked on VR, and we get hooked on the headsets and the games. But then there's the community, and you get hooked on that separately, independently from the VR technology. And there might be, I know there are people in the VR space who haven't put a headset on in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, but they're still going to VR conferences. They're still in all the live chats. Like, it is the community. Like, and I am addicted to it, like, more than the tech, frankly.
For sure. Dude, I couldn't agree more. We're just in this space with such smart, passionate people. You know, you could go and make a whole bunch of money in a lot of different industries, but the people that are here because they see the big picture. They are genuinely like intelligent, and they can like see past a lot of the friction to where this is going, and frankly how awesome it is right now. So a lot of these people, it's just the best. I love this community. I really and truly do.
Same, dude. Yeah. It's awesome. You know, we got this incredible chat: Paradise Decay, Gamertag VR, German Rifter. Like, look, the first three names. Like, are you kidding me?
I know.
You know, ClassyGrandma and Chrome Colossus, Mahina from Beyond Frames Entertainment, Laszlo 216, Jay Brat was in here, VR Central with the super chats, of course Classy with the super chats also, Phil Marshall, Amelia Faust. No ads this time, I think, during the show. Amelia, right? Like, we got it. Beginning and end, deal with those, okay? Or get premium, but mid rolls, can definitely leave. Ashley Huffman, Real Optics VR lenses got up in here.
Real Optics, real quick, guys, if you wear glasses in your headset, it is life-changing to put lenses in your headset. Real Optics is the real deal. They're my favorite out of all of them. Go get some of those.
And he's not getting paid.
I'm not. So I buy a lot of them. I have gotten a few free pairs, but I buy Real Optics lenses for every headset that walks in the store.
It sounds like a commercial.
Dude, I know. I just love them. It is the best, and it's magnetic. You just pop them out real quick, hand your headset to someone, you're good. Throw them back in. Sorry, go ahead.
VR Central, thank you for the super chats. Ashley Huffman, amazing to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, Real Optics. MickeyBerr dropping codes during the whole episode, as usual. I don't even know what to say to that guy.
I know. What a legend.
Michael V, you know, giving PD some shout outs earlier in the episode. Ninja Guy VR popping in to say a quick hello, and now he's back in VR, so he's not even hearing this. Who else we got? Qcreator, brilliant episode. Thank you, dude. D1360 VR, rewind. Please do. This has been an awesome episode. You're going to want to catch it. RedSlashAce, Duggars K, CreeperBetty up in here, dude, Haruku, VR Spry Guy, Silver Nexus, Virtual Strangers, Wes, dude, my homie up in here.
What's up, Wes?
So great to see you, Wes. Wes is one of my favorite people, man. Like,
dude, I know.
Like, legitimately,
I know.
he's one of my favorite people.
He's a rad guy.
And everybody else who's tuned in here or in the audio versions or on the replays, thank you all so much. It means a lot to us. We like doing this, and the fact that other people enjoy that we're doing this means more than you realize. We would do this if for no audience, but having an audience really makes this a lot more fun. So thank you all so much for your time.
Obscure nerd Andy dropping in at the very end here. What's up, brother?
Even Desmoda, who got a Vive Cosmos at Game
right?
So
Heck
how's that
yeah.
Vive Cosmos been treated?
And Andy's been interning at Impact Reality behind the scenes.
Is that who it is?
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
I'm connecting the dots. And Michelle Dillon, hi. It's good to see you too. Okay. Everybody who we didn't get to, you're too late, all right? You got to say things faster. Mind jive. You mind jive, dude. You do this to me way too often. And Beat Saber Rita, of course. Thank you, dear, for being here. All right. What are we doing next week?
All right. So next week we are diving into the world of augmented reality with someone from the company who makes these amazing X-Real Air glasses. And we're going to have Ralph on the show, who's going to talk to us all about X-Real and what they're doing to bring AR to mainstream. Look at these glasses. These things are so freaking sick.
Dude, I tried.
They're so cool.
The X-Real Air Max 2s, I think, at CES.
Yep.
And I was really impressed.
Yeah, some of their glasses have full-blown 6-off tracking with hand tracking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just so sick.
6-off hand tracking AR glasses, like glass AR, not mixed reality, glass. Like, yeah, crazy.
So we're gonna hop into that because we explore more VR here, and I thought it'd be really cool to get a little like a little inside look into what these companies are doing with all of the funding. Like, they don't sell millions of these things, right? So they got to eat a lot of the cost to get the technology to where it needs to be, and it's just so fascinating to me. So I'm super stoked to talk to Ralph.
That
next
sounds
week.
great.
Yeah.
We are nearing the end of season 8, everybody.
Yeah, we are.
We're gonna have a conversation after the show. Actually, right now, like we have tentatively penciled in our last episode of season 8 in 2 weeks on the 26th. After Ralph, I'm gonna maybe see if I can convince Skiva to let us get one more episode in before we do that.
Sold.
Sounds like he's into it. So we might have 2 more guests for the season, and then we will end our season on our community episode. And if you've never participated in one of those, I really want to encourage everybody to take advantage of the opportunity. We don't get to talk to everybody on our show, right? Like, we have guests every week, and now we have an amazing list of people who we've had on the show, but not everybody is an industry professional or has a YouTube channel or whatever, but that doesn't mean we don't want to connect with you. So that's why we do these community episodes at the end of the season. We open it up to anybody who wants to jump on here. So if you listen to the show and you're like, oh man, it would be cool to like get on there and ask a question or bring up a topic that I'm really interested in, that's what we're doing that for. So it'll probably be in 3 weeks, tentatively on August 2nd, but we'll share more of that in the future.
Yep.
But I really want to encourage everybody to sign up whenever it is that we set up a sign up sheet and come onto the show for 10-15 minutes. Like, show us your face, let us put a face to the name, like, share something cool about your VR journey or whatever, and just become a part of this, because once you get on the community episode, you've been on. Like, you're in, you know what I mean? So we want everybody in.
You're legit.
That's right.
You're legit anyway.
You are legit. I mean, if you've been on Between Realities, you're legit. Everybody knows that.
Every one of you in this chat.
Is that it then, or what, dude?
That's it, I think. I think that's the end.
That was awesome. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Skiva, as always, for being an amazing co-host.
Heck yeah, brother. You too.
Thanks, man. And we will see you next week with Ralph from X-Real talking AR. Have a good weekend. Like and subscribe. Join the Discord. Go check out Engage. See you next week.
Bye-bye.